Hello and welcome back to 4 Wales See Wales with me, Mel Owen.
Me, Robin Morgan.
And me, Will Hayward.
Guys, we need to address some fake news we've been spreading. The day was going to come, right?
Yeah.
When we said something untrue. And it happened. I mean, it has happened many times in my quizzes. But this particularly is a bad one, and we need to apologise.
Yeah, we're holding our hands up.
Yeah.
I get a lot of messages as a journalist, sometimes saying they like my work, sometimes criticising it. I've never had as many messages, especially from, weirdly, members of my family, to tell me that Michael Parkinson is in fact dead.
He's passed, R.I.P., the late Parky.
3 years ago, we should say.
It's not even breaking news.
No, it's not even news.
I don't even know how we're meant to take you seriously as a journalist anymore when you're not covering the big events in our culture. I just think it's disgraceful. You're a blogger, and that's it.
Just to clarify, you guys are both also on the podcast.
We're the
You also work in show business.
we're the light touch.
Yeah.
We're all about Claudia Winkleman as a chat show host of that. We're trying to get on Winkles.
So for people who are listening to the podcast for the first time...
Yeah, this is the podcast where we reveal celebrity deaths from many years ago.
Yeah, today's Michael Parkinson.
Mm-hmm.
So last week we talked about funerals and selling funeral plans and how Michael Parkinson always seems to be selling them. Turns out he's not.
No.
Because he died 3 years ago.
Because he's had one.
We're
Bet it was a good plan for it, though.
I mean, I reckon he had it on the free.
Yeah. Oh, do you?
100%.
His family weren't paying for that at
No,
all.
I reckon he got a free one. My nan, when she went to her third... Have I told this story before on the podcast? Well, my nan had 3 husbands. All 3 of them died. Suspicious? Yes.
Yeah.
When she went to her third husband's funeral, she enjoyed it so much that she bought her funeral. Like, this is what I want for mine. And then she lived another sort of 10, 15 years.
Oh, wow.
So in terms of inflation, absolutely smashed it.
So she was like, what a banging day. This is what I want.
This is absolutely great.
Was she just not impressed with the first 2?
I don't know. I mean, like they were many, many years ago. I think that
Sure.
they were in the 50s, those funerals. So I mean, like she must have been like, look at this, a fucking slideshow where we can see pictures. This is great.
It's blown her mind.
This wasn't it like in the 50s. We're
Yeah.
looking through albums. This is bullshit. We've gone digital.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I think it's so chic having 3 dead husbands.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah.
chic. I've always said I always want to either get married once or about 6 times.
Yeah.
I want one or the other. I just think there's something so chic about
You don't want a
being-
halfway house.
No, I can see myself as a widow.
And in those, I could see you as a widow. You'd
Yeah.
make a lovely widow.
I would, wouldn't I?
And I think out of those 6 husbands, I think 2 of them would be the same man as well. You do a Burton and Taylor. I think.
Remarry.
Yeah.
Yeah, then he dies, and I'm like so forlorn. And
soz.
then get another one. He pops his clogs.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, got this air of mystery about me.
Yeah. A lovely funeral outfit in each one. With
Oh.
a bigger and bigger hat in
Yeah.
each funeral.
Oh, and the little net over my face as
Great.
well.
Well, this was definitely the apology to Michael Parkinson that
we would have loved that.
that we planned in our planning
would have
meeting.
loved it.
You would have enjoyed that a lot. Politics?
Politics.
So last week I went up to Wrexham for the Plaid Cymru manifesto launch.
Early start. You had an early start.
I had an early start. So this is the penultimate manifesto of the manifestos that has come out. We are still awaiting the Lib Dems, which is coming out tomorrow.
Is it?
Yep. Yeah.
Tuesday.
So it would have been out for 2 days.
Yeah.
How exciting.
So that's coming out tomorrow as we record now, but it'll be out by the time you listen to this, you'll have been all over it.
Are we going to need to do an emergency pod for it? My feelings, no.
I think we would have read it front and back. It would have been it would be great.
It doesn't. But hey, who knows what might be in it? They could come out with some absolute stonkers.
I mean, when she passed when she made sure the budget passed, there was like greyhound banning. So there's going to be some rogue shit in this.
Oh, I am. Maybe we might need to pull that emergency pod button.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be hilarious if we did for a party that's not going to get any.
Welsh Space Agency. We're doing it.
So this week in the newsletter, we're covering the fact that the Lib Dems put out a leaflet which said that 100%, in big letters, 100% of polls say that the Lib Dems are going to be winning here in this Cardiff seat. Now, one of the polls has them winning no seats.
Yeah, so that's just not true.
So how can they justify that?
They small printed it and said, this is every poll.
Lol JK.
They put every poll from 2024 through to mid-March 2026, which was a week before the poll that showed them getting wiped out.
That's very smart.
Can you imagine what we'd do if the Reform did that?
Yeah, I mean it's a lie. I mean, well, it's not a lie. It is true, but it's deceptive.
It is very
But
deceptive.
also, I think it's just like really sad that they're having to do that. To be like, well, guys, everyone's saying we're going to win this seat. Maybe just this one, but this one seat. I just think that's really pathetic.
They were always like a decent political alternative for people who felt kind of ostracised on the left and the right of centre as well, weren't they? You know, a lot of Tory voters would go Lib Dems because they couldn't stomach voting Labour, whereas now they just seemingly they're not going to.
Going back to that Plaid manifesto. So the Plaid manifesto was big, right? 73 pages.
The biggest one of all of them?
So it was 73 for Plaid, it was 66 for Labour, 43 for the Greens, 36 for Reform, and 30 for the Tories. There's quite a lot of overlap between those two. What do we think the Lib Dems will be?
Oh, I think they might be in the 30s. I really do.
I mean, they know what other people have published, so you don't want to be the lowest, do you? So
No.
I reckon they'll stack
30
it.
and a half.
Oh yeah, I think so. They'll put like on a copy of FHM, they'll give you an extra flap with like free aftershave or something on the front of it. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Essence of Dodds.
I will say, so the Plaid manifesto was beefy. It was a big document. It was also in A4, and do you know what I will say? I prefer A5, and Labour are the only one who went A5.
Okay.
I think an A5 manifesto is nicer.
As opposed to...
It's a booklet rather than a dossier.
You can throw it in the bag a little bit easier, read that, take it out and about with you. An A4, you're having to sit down and commit to that, I think.
I love that. My stationary nerd brain is going like absolutely haywire now.
Yeah.
Love this. Would Labour's have been absolutely titchy then if they'd have gone A4, or would they have just blown it up?
I think it's just condensed in terms of like...
Dreadful. I quite like an A4. It feels official. A5 feels like you're trying to be too down with the kids.
Ooh.
Because it's smaller font so they can read it.
Yeah, glossy or not glossy?
Yeah, The Guardian described Plaid's 100-day roadmap as glossy.
Yeah.
It's like a big thing. They're glossy brochure.
I think it's matte. I think it was matte.
I found that quite unsatisfactory.
Shall we talk about the content?
Oh, God, if you have to.
Come on, then.
So, the first thing to say is what they were definitely trying to put across is that they are super, super, super serious about running this country. Like, it was very much like they were trying to put it forward as this is a programme for government. This is not just a manifesto, this is a programme for government. One of the first lines is, Plaid Cymru is ready to lead, to seize the nation-building opportunity before us. And I think that's really important, this idea that they see themselves as not just, they don't want to just govern Wales, they want to build it. And I think that is something we've discussed, and the fact that Wales is like quite underdeveloped in lots of ways. We haven't put a lot of money into things like culture and stuff like that. So I thought that was quite reflective.
Bit of ambition.
Yeah, which is nice to see, and I think might be of some comfort to those people that feel a bit disenfranchised, a bit left behind, a bit forgotten, who don't want the status quo, who thinks that things could be better. So that's a nice angle.
Do you think that will cut through though? Like, what does nation building mean to somebody who's been ostracised by Labour and the Conservatives?
I think what that is probably tying into, not just the fact that they do see themselves as the nation-building party of Wales, they see themselves as key in protecting the Welsh language, but I think it also, they're trying to juxtapose themselves to Reform, who they are saying like they're from outside, they're a threat to Wales. So that's what they're trying to do with that. What really did strike me is there is a lot of stuff in there which is basically, we're going to get this from the UK government. Can I give you a whistle-stop tour of just some of them?
Yeah.
So these are things that they can't just do. These are things that they have to try and get. We will fight for the rail funding that we are owed. We will press for UK government to devolve and introduce a vacant land tax. Plaid Cymru will open negotiations from day one on the Crown Estate. We will build a case for devolved powers for a weekly child payment. We will fight for the powers needed to build a justice system that works. We will continue to make a case that the UK should join the customs union. We will press the UK government to make carers allowance fairer. We will continue to call on the UK government to extend rural fuel duty relief scheme to Wales. We will continue to insist that UK government funds coal tip restoration in full. A Plaid Cymru government will press for UK government to deliver on devolving benefits.
I mean, very carefully worded there that we will fight for, we will build a case for, we will... Because obviously they can't say they're going to get it from the UK government. So I imagine a Labour member going, we're trying, what are you going to do any different? Does anybody feel confident that Reen has any more leverage?
It sounds just like a to-do list, doesn't it? In terms of like, when you've got like a lot of plan, just write it all out on a to-do list. And that's the first thing.
Yeah.
Made a to-do list, tick. And the first one.
Love that.
Their argument is, look, we're going to be fighting just like the SNP fought in Scotland, and therefore we're going to sort of like batter down the hatches. Who knows? We don't know, do we? This is a roll of the dice if we're going to assume we've never had a Plaid-led government in this country fighting the fight for Wales. We just don't know. I wonder whether, on day one we'll start negotiations. You need two parties to agree to start negotiating. Yeah. If the Westminster Labour government go off you fuck, you're like, okay, well we'll come back to that one then.
Yeah,
it's ambitious, just like the nation building thing is. It's a lot of we will do this. We honestly don't know. We have no idea.
Is it enough pressure on Westminster government if there is an independence-seeking party in both Scotland and Wales? Like, the optics are not great when you've got the other two who both want independence. I know Plaid are like, it's not about that now, but that's one of their raison d'etres.
I've been thinking about this. I think there's three paths that the UK government might choose to go down. So say the polls are pretty close to being bang on. Labour get a really, really bad election. There's a Plaid-led government, potentially minority government, maybe supported by the Greens. There's kind of three ways that the UK government can take it. The first one is that they go, okay, we need to try and win back Wales. Lots of Labour MPs, Welsh Labour MPs will be going, well, we're going to lose our seats if that happens again. And they might make some concessions. They might promise something like maybe devolution of rail, something like that. They might actually do the things that their own party in Wales has been calling for them to do. And they'll make those concessions and they'll try and basically take the sting out of it and basically make that case for, yeah, we do care. That's one option that they might do. The other option, which I'm coming more and more around to as the most likely, is actually if Starmer's still in power, that they actually go, we cannot give an inch here. Because what they don't want to do is be perceived as handing Plaid Cymru a win. So they might dig in. We saw what Starmer said before, and obviously this was Morgan McSweeney at the time was involved, but when he said we can't be over-deferential to the devolved governments, and that was when it was his own party in power in Wales. I suspect they will adopt an adversarial approach to it. There's nothing has given me an indication that a Starmer-led UK Labour has any kind of idea of respecting devolution in its principle, not just kind of in its practice. This idea that actually this is a different area of sovereignty within the UK government. I think they completely buy the kind of supremacy of Westminster, and so I wonder if that's what they'll go. There is a third way that they might try and go. It's where they will offer something, and it won't be very much. And they'll try and say, look, yeah, we've just done this. Look how helpful we've been to you. But actually, it's really kind of
what they're doing now.
Yeah. That is what they're doing now, isn't it?
I think from a Westminster point of view, Labour are protecting Labour at a Westminster level. They're just thinking out for themselves in terms of the next election coming up. I suppose if they do option 2 there and they go, well, no, why would we give you anything? We've been working with Welsh Labour and we said we'd give them. We've given them things. We're not going to work with you. You have no power in this.
You might want to be a bit more grateful.
That will then, I think, piss off a lot of people within Wales ahead of a UK level, and you could then see the Labour vote there from an MP point of view drop towards Plaid, towards reform. Who knows? I think that's the only reason that they might not do that. But yeah, I mean, they could stick to their guns. In terms of the power, SNP is so much higher than what Plaid have, because we don't know what powers Plaid have. We know in terms of the strength of their leadership. Yeah,
I think especially if going into the next general election, if it is on a knife edge for Labour, and those heartland Labour seats in Wales, if they can no longer rely on those, do they start panicking at that point? I don't foresee Westminster giving that much of a shit about the Senate elections, really, to be honest with you. But when it starts to cause them problems down the line, like you said, Robin, is that when they're going to start having a knee-jerk reaction and go, shit, if those heartlands have gone Plaid in the Senate elections, could they go Plaid in the Westminster elections, and then we start needing to make some concessions?
Or will they just look at it at Westminster level and go, well, that's the Senate election.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Let's just look at Westminster voting patterns.
Some of them will go, well, that's massively discredited Welsh Labour. Like, that's a Welsh Labour issue. Welsh Labour were the ones calling for all these ridiculous things like the devolution of rail and, the ability to actually borrow more money than the council. Idiots, what they're thinking.
Do you think there is that real separation in terms of Welsh Labour and Westminster Labour, or do you think there are some people who do realise that there are links there?
There are some MPs that get it. I would say most of the senior MPs do not,
because they are in a circle. They're
senior
right?
MPs.
They're in the cool gang.
Yeah, I always thought when I was covering politics, but not really, like I was covering it as well as covering other things as a reporter, like 2018. I always thought that maybe the kind of rift between UK Labour and Welsh Labour was a bit overblown.
Okay.
I've been at Labour conferences and seen firsthand how dismissive what UK Labour, members of Welsh Labour are towards like their colleagues. Not all of them, some of them. So when I spoke to the Unicorn, he said that this manifesto stands separately to that. Because I asked him, what happens if you don't get any of these concessions? How does this affect your ability to deliver anything?
Sure.
And he said that all of our plans in there can still go ahead, even if they...
That's interesting. From a financial point of view, so we're not relying on Crown Estate money, we're not relying on HS2 funding.
Well...
They claim to have, but there's been quite a lot of pushback this week, isn't there?
Yeah.
Independent bodies going, they can't.
Yeah, because there's some really expensive things in here.
Well, let's have a look at what the Institute for Fiscal Studies said.
This was quite scathing. I did read this.
Bunch of lads.
Yeah, they're a hoot.
My gosh. A little bit risque.
So they said, as it stands, the outlook for the Welsh Government funding implies that cuts to at least some services will be needed to maintain, let alone improve, health and social care services as costs and demands grow. Spending £400 million a year more on childcare, with more to boot on a Welsh child payment, expanded free school meals and better primary healthcare would require either deeper cuts to unprotected services or a substantial slowdown in core health and social care spending, or, as of yet unmentioned, tax rises. That was their analysis. So I was, I think, fifth or sixth in the kind of journos who were interviewing Reen after the event, and every single one was asking him, like, how are you going to pay for this? What's your costings? And he kept responding. His kind of go-to response was, you would never expect any politician to go through line by line through an entire budget before an election. No party has done that, and I'm not going to be able to do that. And Bartman was like, well, okay, fair enough, because going through line by line of a £27 billion budget is pretty hard. I'm not sure I could take you
and
line
boring.
Immensely
Literally
boring.
nobody wants that.
And also they have the argument of, well, we don't know the current state of finances fully because we haven't seen under the bonnet, because we're not in government and there's only certain things we can see. So you can't expect us to know. So I was like, okay, fine. So, but what you can talk about, even if you can't talk about the exact amounts of money, you can talk about the percentages of budget. So what percentage will the health budget make up? What percentage will be spent on education? What percentage will be on culture? If you're going to expand one, you're going to have to reduce another one, because they're not the UK government. They can't just borrow more. They can't overspend. They have far less levers. They basically have a set amount of money, unless they want to, do things like raise Welsh income tax, which they've said they're not going to do. So I said to him, which Welsh Government department budgets will be, as a percentage of the total budget, larger at the end of the 4 years of Plaid, and which will be smaller? He said, there will be some that we've made very clear will be larger. Culture, for example, starts from an incredibly low base. We've also talked about needing to win 2 terms in order to get us anywhere near where we want to be in terms of culture spending. So that will increase. When we look at the proportion spent on childcare, that will go up, because we've identified that as a real priority. So I said, so what would be smaller?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, what's the second half of that sentence?
So he said, I would say that the reactive spend on poverty with a shift that would allow a more proactive spend on poverty. We are looking at the Bevan Foundation and their conclusions around the kind of sticking plaster solutions that are too often put in place to deal with problems, rather than solutions to deal with the issue in the first place. So hopefully we will get to a place where the reactive spend becomes less and we've spent more on the proactive. So I asked him, would you expect the health budget, which the health budget, 50% of the overall budget, 50% of that 27 billion is going on health. I said, would you expect the health budget to occupy the same amount of the overall budget? And he said, to be honest with you, yes, but what we can't do is continue to increase it at the rate it's been increasing. We had to make decisions looking at the budget for 2026-27 in order to put both local government and health boards on a more firm footing. So basically he's saying that they're planning to put in 180 million plus another 100 million and then 40 million for surgical hubs. But he's saying with health, they're putting that money in initially, but then they don't plan to put more in. So health's going to stay the same. Culture's going to go up. And when I asked kind of how you're going to pay for it, basically, he said reactive spend on poverty. So that's, when we talked about local housing allowance and how people being kicked out of their house is really expensive. So if you can keep people in their homes, it's a much
long term. Yeah.
What he's basically saying is we're going to deal with the causes of problems, not the symptoms of problems. The problem with that is it's really, really hard to do. So take housing. So there's an idea around this thing called rapid rehousing. So this idea that the principle is when someone loses their house, you get them in another house as soon as possible, so you don't have all those entrenched issues that come with homelessness. And actually that's a much more cost-effective way to do it, because someone being homeless is really expensive. The problem is all the money at the moment is spent on temporary accommodation and just finding somewhere for someone rather than putting them in a proper home. in order to do rapid rehousing, you'd need to massively invest in getting more homes to do the rapid rehousing. But you'd have to spend on both the reactive and the proactive for a bit before you can taper down the reactive stuff. I don't really understand how they are going to do it. Now, they might just run it really well. They might find all these, a new person at the top might drive forward, better ideas. But it's not guaranteed. There's a lot of it which is saying, trust us.
Yeah.
And also, like, on this, pie chart that you're asking which percentages are going down, like, poverty is not a chunk of the pie chart where you can go, that's going to be smaller, right? He's saying something incredibly specific based on whether it's proactive or reactive spending. So it's quite sort of like minutiae in where he's trying to find this money.
He may also get away with it on the basis that people feel so unsatisfied with Welsh Labour that at the moment he can get away with being a little bit vague with the sums, so to speak, because like there's an element of like, trust me, and it's like, oh, okay, well maybe trusting and taking the risk is better than the status quo. But then the same goes for reform.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder how much the costings of a manifesto is cutting through. Like, I remember a few years ago that being a really big thing for Corbyn's Labour, and specifically, I think the attacks on Diane Abbott, that was the big criticism because she sort of misspoke in an interview. But whereas, reforms plans, the Greens plans, the IFS have come out and just gone, they've all fucked it.
Yeah.
That's not a direct quote. Don't at me, IFS. They're risque. But I wonder how much of that is cutting through with people. If every single party is going, well, we don't know what we need to look into the bonnet. Inflation, we don't know. But by the time that we get into May, therefore we haven't published the actual. The sums yet. I wonder how much that's actually going to impact. I know it's important, and I
agree.
It's
do voters care that much?
I would say that 98% of voters don't know what the Welsh Government budget is.
Show your workings for that now. Show your workings now. Show me your workings.
98%. Go on.
I'm going to cut poverty spending.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Good answer.
Yeah,
Strong.
great. Yeah.
What I did find interesting, one of the little nugget in there, which no one else seemed to really pick up on, was the fact that they're proposing changes to how elections in Wales work. So rather than, they want to bring in STV, which is single transferable vote. It does sound a bit dirty.
It does a little bit. It's unfortunate.
That's not going to help the NHS crisis.
No. Don't bring those in. Get rid. Antibiotics.
So they've said they're considering they want to bring in single transferable vote. Now, the way that works is contrary to what we have at the moment. So this Senedd election, you will put an X next to the party you want, and that's it.
Yeah.
One vote. For STV, what you do is you rank your representatives. So you would go, this is number 1, this is number 2, this is number 3. You could only just vote for one. You could just say, actually, I'm just voting for one party. Or you could rank them, if there was 8 candidates, you could rank them 1 to 8.
You're really asking people to know a lot to do that. So would you say, okay, so my top choice would be this party, and then second would be this party?
So you were right wing, you're really concerned about immigration, Nigel Farage is your bag. You might go in and you go, okay, right, I'm putting reform number 1. But actually, what I could do is, if reform don't win, I'd rather the Tories. Yeah. And then I don't want any of the others. So you might
just do that?
Yeah, so you could just do 1 and 2. You could just do 1.
But you'd get up to 5, did you say?
It depends on the system.
Oh, sorry,
you can have you have some places where you can have 5 or 6. The way it works, so they'd count the votes, and whoever was last, they would drop out. So whoever put them as their number 1 would then move to their second preference and third preference.
And it makes so much more sense. It is
a much better system.
So much better system, because I think obviously some people are going into it with I am dyed in the wool. I am a reform supporter. Out of context, enjoy. I'm a reform supporter, and I don't want anyone else to get in. I am completely disenfranchised by politics. This is my party. I don't want anyone else. But for the majority of people, it's about issues, isn't it? We've all been on those websites where you sort of type in what and it tells you kind of you're probably best suited to vote for this party.
Yeah.
And I think that just makes so much sense, and it takes the heat out of it as well. You're voting with your head a bit more rather than your heart.
Yeah, you just need to appeal to you. It's not about vote for us to stop that party.
No, you're not having to grin and bear so much as well. Do you know what I mean? There might be things that you don't love. You're not having to hold your nose. You can be a bit okay, we'll put them second or whatever.
Because in this system, one of my best mates texts me saying, I'm struggling at the moment. I don't know whether to will tactical voting work. Is his kind of shout, and I tried to give him a bit of an explanation notion of like, after 12% of the vote, then every 10% and stuff. But if he was trying to vote tactically to try and sort of like keep one party out, is that possible, or do you have to vote for?
It's incredibly hard under this system because say you wanted to stop reform, Plaid might be winning 3 seats in your area, but if you vote for them and they've already got their 3 seats, that might stop the Greens getting a seat, which will allow Reform to get it. But we don't know.
So this is exactly what I was like. It's kind of this, but I'm glad that I've given him the right
your best bet is to vote for the party that you would like most.
That's what the Greens were saying, wasn't it, in their manifesto launch? Vote Green, get Green.
Yeah.
Implies like we're Green.
But what this would mean in a Welsh context is really it would mean that it would be very, very hard for Wales, for the foreseeable future, for a generation, to have a right-wing majority government, because most people in Wales aren't right of centre.
The system that we've currently
this system, STV, would bed in that system. Like, whereas the current system, it enables a kind of a populist party to win with a minority.
Yeah.
So that's when we say it's the least proportional system. So I thought that was quite interesting. Shall we talk about some other bits of the manifesto?
Yes, please.
It's the economy stupid. We've got to talk the economy because it is the economy stupid. That's what everyone says. Everyone cares about the economy. The economy is really important, even though a lot of the tools to actually deal with the economy Wales doesn't have.
Stupid.
Yeah, stupid. The system is stupid. So a big centre of Plaid economy offer is this new Welsh Development Agency. Wales used to have a Welsh Development Agency. It was canned by Labour. Back in the kind of 80s, 90s, it was actually pretty good. So it used to be quite good at getting inward investment. And the idea is if you're a business or an organisation and you want to work in Wales, like, who do you call? Who do you pick up the phone to? And it's the idea that they have someone who can pick up the phone to and they can help facilitate things, help iron out problems. If I say I want to build a factory in Gunlice, how can I go about doing that? Not helping people navigate red tape, stuff like that, and also promote Wales abroad. So at the moment, so much of Plaid's answer to everything is, it's the Welsh Development Agency is going to deal with that.
Okay.
I'm going to make a sneaky prediction on the podcast now. If Adam Price or Luke Fletcher lose their seats, so both of them are in third place, would we call them big beasts of Plaid Cymru?
Yeah.
They would head up this WDA.
I think if one of them loses their seat, they'll get a nice job at the Welsh Development Agency. That's my prediction.
Well, I hope they're ready for the job, because if they're going to do a lot of heavy lifting by the sounds of it.
You're going to have to do a hell of a lot. So a couple of things that Plaid have said they will also do is they want to raise the amount of Welsh-based suppliers that Welsh Government use. So go up from about 55% where it currently is up to 70%.
Can you specify suppliers in what sense, sorry?
So if the Welsh Government procure goods or services, say we are getting a new IT system for the Welsh NHS, the idea would be that you would be prioritising Welsh companies to deliver that.
A Welsh Amstrad.
Yeah.
Right.
One for the kids. So the idea is that money then stays in Wales. So it's money that comes in from to the Welsh Government budget, and rather than spending it and it going outside of Wales, it goes...
Yeah.
Which
keep it in-house.
Yeah. So, and the idea is that will be a way of, using Welsh money in a kind of a double way. You get the service for Welsh public services, but you also have that money going out into Welsh communities.
Great.
Another thing that they really want to do is utilise the Welsh diaspora. So something Ireland have been really good at historically is using what seems like 2 billion Irish people abroad in order to encourage inward investment, tourism, stuff like that. Like the amount of Americans that go over to Ireland and spend money and invest in Ireland because, great grandma was Irish, even though I'm sure she got a lovely welcome when she arrived in New York. Plaid want to utilise this. So there's an estimated 3 to 4 million Welsh people living outside of Wales.
Please tell me this has nothing to do with Patagonia. If it is, I'm going to flip this table.
It's not to do with They haven't mentioned Patagonia.
It's to do with Robin Ryan.
I'm done. I'm done with Patagonia. Sorry.
What does annoy me sometimes about the coverage of Patagonia is that we act like this wasn't colonisation.
Thank you. And I also
isn't that quaint? There was a little bit of Argentina speaks Welsh. How fun! Why?
They were they're Welsh settlers.
Okay. No, they tried to invade, and they were so bad at it that the natives took pity on them. How embarrassing! Not only did you try to colonise, you were so shit at it that you all got ill, and the locals were like, "Do you want some help?"
That is really funny, isn't it? In fairness, they didn't have a Welsh Development Agency.
They did.
Why? That's why they need it.
They did. They needed it at the time.
Because they needed Adam Price leading the charge.
They did. I bet he thinks that as well. He was like, if I'd have been there, we'd have
You can imagine the boat pulling up, and he's got one leg up on the bow.
He'd look good as a captain.
With a horn.
He would look good as a captain.
He would. Bless. And we're not accusing him of being a colonizer, just to be clear.
Good to have that on record.
I don't think we needed to clarify that.
But just to be clear, I'm sorry to cut across you, but I was on edge, and I thought if he says Patagonia in the next 2 minutes, I'm actually going to flip. So I can enjoy this information now. I know it's not coming out.
How are we bringing in Welsh people from abroad, Will?
So what will the diaspora plan involve? They will establish a cross-border diaspora task force, which will bring together business, academia, cultural institutions and government to coordinate and engage and share best practice and set priorities for diaspora collaboration. Maybe they should introduce some falls and ups. There will be investment frameworks, which will kind of create ways that people abroad can invest in Wales if they want to. It will expand Welsh language and cultural resources to provide more digital and in-person opportunities to learn Welsh.
Honestly, the jokes aside, the Welcome to Wrexham, especially the first series, was a huge part of putting Cymru on the map, wasn't it, and stuff. And they're sort of like, I'm sure that they're not basing it solely off a Disney Plus series, but I think
worked, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So much.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, the Welsh language is an enormous asset in terms of marketing, not just from a cultural perspective, but in terms of defining Wales as a thing in and of itself.
And people know what Wales is now as well. I think definitely, I mean, the first time I went to LA, the first billboard I saw was a Welcome to Wrexham one.
No way.
And in LAX, I saw Welcome to Wrexham.
I saw a gig last night, and the two American performers, and they were like, I don't know much, but this is my first time in Wales. I've seen the Welcome to Wrexham documentary. Like it's
they
the
know
thing.
it.
It's the go-to
Yeah,
thing.
it is. And I know we all, I suppose we're seeing so much of it because we're in Wales, so we're getting a lot of that coverage. And I'm the first one to roll my eyes and be like, oh God, this again. But actually, in all fairness, it's doing great work. It is doing great work, and we can capitalise and build and expand on that.
Yeah.
Into Patagonia, like that's what you want to do, right?
Well, rest of Argentina.
Buenos Aires.
Fancy a nice steak. I think with the diaspora stuff, the proof of the pudding's in the eating. You could do it and it could mean nothing, but if you do it well, it could be really useful. So yeah, we'll if they get in, we'll see how that goes. I wanted to look at farming as well. So we've consistently said that farming, not just farming, but like the environment, and is probably the biggest hole in kind of what they offer. He doubled down on his belief that he doesn't subscribe to the idea that you've got to really reduce livestock numbers to reach net zero. I believe he genuinely holds that view. I just think it's based on incorrect information. So he maintains their 2040 target for net zero in Wales. I think that we've done a lot on it, so I don't want to do too much more on it. He did say that they are very clear that they do not want large pylons in Wales. So they said they would immediately prohibit the use of large steel lattice pylons, and they will only be permitted where installation is via low wooden poles or equivalent less intrusive infrastructure. I can understand if you lived in a beautiful area of rural Wales, you would not want a pylon going through your community. I totally get that.
You see a lot of signs when you're driving through Wales as well. No
Carmarthen,
Yeah.
Wales has a huge issue with grid infrastructure. At the moment, there's almost no point in producing loads of electricity because you can't get it anywhere. Plaid have talked a lot about undergrounding. That makes lots of projects quite unviable.
Because of the expense of it.
Because of the expense. I've heard Plaid politicians argue that it's the same price to underground as it is to do a pylon. It just isn't. It's just not true.
That's it.
Let me
cash in hand though. Yeah. Take the VAT off.
Yeah. Do you know what? If I said to you, I've got this big long wire. You can build these standardised pylons which will go across this landscape, or you can dig a tunnel through what will amount to dirt, rock, under trees, under like skirting around stuff. It is more expensive. You might argue, actually, yeah, but it's worth doing. But what I think we need to be clear is, if they are not going with large pylons, the ability of Wales to deliver large infrastructure projects will be limited. But Plaid might argue, well, actually, we don't really want large corporations doing large infrastructure energy projects because they're going to be pushing really hard to have community-based renewable energy.
Okay.
And that will be what Plaid do.
Is that their silver bullet to get away from this? What are you going to do with the pylons thing then?
And understandably, for historical reasons, Plaid have a bit of an aversion to the perception that people are coming to Wales, taking resources and extracting wealth.
tell me if I'm wrong, these kind of community projects, this is quite similar to what we discussed with Leanne Wood on the episode, right? So it is probably worth going back and listening to our Leanne Wood episode for just like a bit more info, because she had a lot on that, didn't she?
Yeah. So, and I that's actually a really good point. Go back, listen to the Leanne Wood episode. It was in depth.
Yeah, I learned a lot about it.
She spoke brilliantly.
And it's also like there's not a kind of right or wrong like point of view on this, but you kind of have to work from a position of fact that if you don't have more pylons, it'll be harder to build the infrastructure. But also, we need energy generation in Wales to work for the people of Wales,
and also to make a decision. Make a decision on where we're going to go with this. I think one of the criticisms of Welsh Labour is that for so long they've just been sort of hamstrung and going, don't want to make a mistake, just going to kind of vibe it for a little while. Let's be ambitious. Let's make some decisions and let's go, right, this is the direction of travel we're going to go for, and let's fund it and do it, because we can't just continue just sort of like
willy-nilly.
Yeah, just treading water.
That's the thing with Wales, isn't it? We need to be much more scared of inaction than we are of failure.
Yeah.
And that's been a real trend since devolution, is we've been much more scared of being criticised than we are of just not doing anything. So, excited to say that before the election we will be doing a episode exclusively looking at the issue of Welsh independence, because Plaid are really determined not to talk about Welsh independence, and every other party is really keen to talk about Welsh independence because they see it as the best stick with which to beat Plaid Cymru. The Greens are just standing there going, we also support it, but let's... no one seems to have realised.
Yeah. You know when you're a child and you know it's your bedtime, but you're like, if I just lie here really quietly, they'll forget and I won't have to go to bed. I feel like that's what the Greens are doing.
Such a thing. Like, there'll be something good on TV and your parents watch it, you're watching it with them, and it's quite nice, and you're like, I can't make a fuss, else I go, oh, it is bedtime.
Yeah. So if
that
I
side
just,
eye.
if I just get really still and no one mentions anything, they won't know. Yeah. I feel like that's what's happening.
Like your parents are Jurassic Park dinosaurs, just really, really still.
Sometimes they are.
Yeah.
They listen, I'm so sorry.
You tell your mum off and a thrill comes out.
Clever girl.
So Plaid have mentioned independence explicitly within their manifesto. So they said that they would establish a new national commission for Wales with responsibility for, among other things, this is a quote, laying the foundations for a future white paper on Welsh independence, addressing the challenges and setting out the opportunities and positive changes independence would bring for Wales. They added, we fundamentally believe that the decision on Wales' political and constitutional future belongs to the people of Wales. We will therefore formally request that the right to decide on the timeline, questions and process for an independence referendum be devolved. Pretty explicit.
Yeah.
We want independence, we're going to go for it.
Yeah, or at least saying like we're moving the needle, right? We're starting to get the ball rolling, but also very careful to go. We want our next step is to devolve when we're going to do it, or when we're going to ask the people. It's not right, and then we're going to go for a referendum. It's like we would just like to start a little bit, so it's not too scary, right? At this point,
it feels like quite a grown-up way of dealing with that question. I'd be really interested to know what the wording of independence was in their last manifesto and the differences between those two.
Yeah.
Oh, it was an entire section.
Yeah.
That National Commission for Wales, which will be kind of looking at independence as an issue, I'm going to come back and tell you, it's going to say that independence is feasible. It's not going to come back and go,
Can you imagine if it
actually we've looked at it, we think it's unworkable.
Yeah.
We're going to disband immediately.
Yeah. Sorry, we got this so wrong. Absolutely no more.
Part of this is a nod to their core vote to say, because there's some...
Yeah. Hold!
Yeah, we are coming back to it. Imagine if you are like classic Plaid, you've been there for so long, and then like now they're gonna get power, and they're not gonna do the thing.
Yeah.
They're not doing.
We had our pitchforks. What the fuck?
We were there on the bridge getting arrested with you.
So we are gonna talk about Welsh independence in the coming weeks, and we're gonna go into
deep dive.
Yeah, the real challenges that are with it, but also why the current situation is unsustainable. So, we have got a live show coming up. We might have mentioned it.
Yeah, 23rd of May. What are you doing on 23rd of May? I know what I'm doing.
Saturday the 23rd of May.
Yeah.
In the daytime.
Yes.
I'll be at the Glee Club in Cardiff.
Me too. Will, what are you doing?
I will be there with my pals.
Yes.
Digesting. Like, you know those massive snakes that eat an antelope and then just lie there mulling it over for like 3 months because they've like had all their sustenance. We will be digesting the massive gazelle, antelope, whatever type.
Hippopotamus. Sometimes they eat a hippo.
Do they?
Yeah.
Snakes eat hippos?
I've seen it. Not with my own.
Just absolutely
in Canton.
Saturday night.
Yeah.
A snake is in a hippo.
Am I sure I've seen it on a dock?
Okay, we'll go with Impala
Okay,
for now.
sure, okay.
But it's I don't want you to think that I'm not validating your
Yeah.
lived
We've
experience.
got a live show, Will.
Okay, we've got a live show coming up now.
We'll be digesting the results of the election, is what you
Yeah.
were trying to get at. Yes.
It's selling remarkably well. To put into context, if the group of people who buy the remaining seats that are available, if that group of people were to form a group in the Senate, they would not be able to form a majority. That is how few seats are remaining.
That was delicious.
For the live.
I liked that.
Yeah, it's
Big
very
old
good.
hippo. Yum, yum, yum.
All this to say, if you are sitting on coming along and you're thinking, oh, should I get a ticket? Do it now
Do it,
because it's going to sell out very, very shortly.
And then we can't, when you message us and be like, oh, on the day, could I get... No,
we'll block you.
No, absolutely, I will. We will block you. You can't, don't do that. So if you want them, please put them now.
We've planned some silly stuff. It's gonna be fun. So it's going to be a real good deep dive into what's just occurred.
Yeah.
And also some extra silly live bonus stuff that obviously won't really go in the pod. So
It's also, to me, it's extraordinary as well, because when we thought about doing the pod, we started it was like building up to the election, right? And it was a bit like, what are we going to do after? And I just think it's so cool that we're then going to do like this extravaganza as well afterwards to digest what has happened. I think it's going to be the biggest live show yet.
Oh yeah, no, easy. I mean, in terms of audience members, yes, but also in terms of like content, yes. And then we'll stop the podcast and do a Viking funeral down the bay. Let's all go out to a boat.
All out.
Yeah.
Producer Daryl
just burns us.
Trying to record it as it goes down the barrage.
because this election in a Welsh context is a moment in time, and it's a thing we will probably still discuss 20 years from now. And I think having the opportunity to go somewhere with a large group of our compadres and just talk it through will be really fun. So
it's lush, isn't it? It's really lush to see the sort of the listeners come out in force. It's really it's like hand on heart, a beautiful community that we've sort of like created, and I feel very, very lucky for it.
I love it.
how do you buy tickets?
How do we buy tickets? You can go on the Glee Club website and scroll down to the date in question, 23rd of May, or if you just Google For Wales, See Wales, Glee Club, you'll find it there. I believe all the links are also on our social links and in the show notes.
Yeah.
But just, you're clever. If you're coming to this, you're not a fucking idiot.
If you can't find your way there, you don't deserve it.
Yeah. It's not for you.
No, absolutely. Well, I'm very excited. I'll obviously see you before the 23rd of May because we've got so much more to discuss
Indeed.
next week.
Yeah. See you next week.
Yeah.
Diolch.
Diolch yn fawr. Bye.